guys, I'm Katie Room from Periapsis Press, and there might be a little bit of background noise. David's just gathering his things and leaving, so that... Oh.
The Senate is full of greedy, squabbling delegates.
Is it not working?
You see, Your Majesty, we will elect a new chancellor.
This is his new toy he got
This is
today.
all on theme for...
The Republic is not what it once
Yes,
was.
it is. You're right. We're going to be talking about...
I just realized that. That's why I came over here.
The Senate is full of greedy, squabbling delegates.
Okay. He just got that today. He met up with one of his friends and they exchanged their Christmas gifts, and that was his. So he's psyched about it. And the sounds for... Do you have one for a droid that I was hearing? There's really cute sounding. You don't have to show it.
When you turn it on.
Oh.
It makes a little beep boop sound.
Okay. Okay. Well, so this is an episode of The Signal where I talk about indie news, my upcoming review, and then we tackle a discussion topic. Today, I am taking an opinion piece, an opinion article that was posted on Bounding Into Comics, and it's so nonsensical, and it just kind of frustrated me. So I am going to look at what he is trying to say, and then disagree with him, of course. Hey to TJ Lombardi and to Cratesbane, thank you guys for coming. I'm going to add my PowerPoint, for which I am known. I understand. Hi, Doug Wise. These are for me to keep me on track. Otherwise, this would be a complete disaster of a stream. So I don't have any indie news today, per se. My 2024 Authors to Watch article was posted not just on my website, but also on the Fandom Pulse that John Delarose is starting. So that was a pretty cool opportunity to have indie authors get additional eyes on their upcoming projects. Okay, that toy that David was showing just chirped from the other side of the room. And this time it was the cute noise, and now it's less cute when I'm here in the basement by myself. But for Periapsis Press and me personally, and then of course this channel, for my 2024 goals, thought I would just let you guys know what I'm thinking. One is to, this is kind of the big one, most immediate one, improve my email updates. Because I recently realized that I have people signed up and nobody's getting emails because I never made the email list that everyone is listed on a recipient list for the emails that are going out. I'm getting them because I'm on the list that all the emails go to, but not the people who signed up to receive emails from me. So I will get that fixed. I apologize, guys. This year I will cross 100 reviews. That is the plan. That will mean that I do more reviews this year than I have done in past years, that I would prioritize reviews over other kinds of posts, in the sense that other kinds of posts will be additional, and I would try to post a review once a week. When I do cross 100 reviews, I would like to do some sort of event, giveaway type thing. So that will be probably in the fall. I'd want to do more with community. I have a Gilded. I'd like to double down on some of the stuff that I'm doing there and be more involved. Part of that is the book club, which I list. I need to be more proactive about actually sharing my thoughts as I read and asking people questions about what they think about it, in such a way that facilitates conversation and community. And then one thing that I want to pick back up is drawing and art, which I haven't done for a long time, mostly because I've been doing my many, many other hobbies. And then, of course, for the channel, more reviews, more videos. One of those will be reviews. I just finished Clara and the Nutcracker by T.K. Merchant. I read it for Christmas, and I'm going to be sitting down, turning a camera on myself, and muddling through what a video review will look like. It probably won't be booktuber quality, but I hope you guys will bear with me, and then of course go read the article, because I'm good at writing and maybe not so much talking to myself. Interviews, discussion videos like this. I actually have several interviews lined up in a sort of let's do this when you guys are ready type way. So I'm excited about those. I would like to do some excerpts. I've done those in the past on the website. I'd like to try and do more like that. Just additional ways for people to get a taste of what they can expect, and hopefully a good scene, you know, that would inspire people to go and buy the whole book. I'd like to do more of that. I'm also going to be doing some deeper meaning videos, by which I mean like getting into things that are still related to reading and sci-fi fantasy and our enjoyment of them, escape, stuff like that. First one is going to be looking at the book What About Evil, which I mentioned briefly in my Halloween stream. And because I talked about it because it talks about God as author, it really dives into that concept. And I think it would be fun to talk about that. And Patrick from Cave to the Cross, who has done a chapter by chapter deep dive into that book, has agreed to do that with me. So I'm excited about that. Other deeper meaning episodes. I have a ton of Tolkien books that are basically that, right? So I thought it would be fun to, you know, look at maybe one or two and see what there is that we could, you know, not just talking about Tolkien, but, you know, as we are looking at indies and fiction in the broader, more philosophical sense. What are some deeper, more complicated subjects that we can talk about? I also want to do popular media, like TV shows, books, response videos that I can use to then suggest alternatives. I've done this a couple of times in the past. I like doing those. I don't know what the numbers are, right? But I think for me personally, as a audience member, especially when a TV show or movie lets me down, I would appreciate someone saying, here's an alternative made by people who don't hate you, and also it won't let you down in that same way. And that involves familiarity with not just the indie alternative, but also the actual traditional media, the problem, right? So I would like to do more of that. We'll see. And of course, unboxing videos, which are always very popular with you guys, and Legos, where you will not stop doing the Lego streams. Hi, Anne. She says, "Ooh, I'm excited for the art." Me too. So one thing that I think would be fun and a fun way to interact with you guys would be something along the lines of like a fan art stream where, and I suck at art, and I am not expecting that anyone else is going to show their work on camera, but if I sit down and practice doing art of somebody's work that I appreciate, then I will get better and they will get exposure, right? So that's kind of where my head's at with that. TJ says, Katie, where can we see your previous art? It's in a box. Oh, I adapted this one from a popular image that is royalty free. And this is it's the Devil's Dictum, where the United States is founded by pirates instead of pilgrims, and alternate history, great stuff. You can see their flag, right, as the pirate logo. So I used the pirate. The raven is their bird. So I didn't do a super great job, but it's a more black. And then sabers, and quoth the raven is their motto. And what the raven says is, whatever. So that's on there too. I think I did a decent job. I didn't freehand the whole thing. I tried, did my best, but again, it's fan art. I'm not like, and I'm not saying that I'm anything great at doing art. I'm not trying to hide the fact that I may have traced one or two elements. Anne says, reviews of scholarly Tolkien books would be really cool. You never know what's good and what's waffle. Very true. She also says, this is a fantastic list, but it does lack crushing your enemies, seeing them driven before you, and hearing the lamentation of their women must be on page 2. Oh, thank you. I appreciate it. I wish that I had done a better job with the head to make it more distinctly raven-like. I'm not going to revisit it, but I want to do more stuff like that, and maybe sooner or later be able to draw faces. We'll see how ambitious I am. But I would like to see other people doing similar things, where if they have an interest in pursuing an artistic direction, to experiment with it and not feel like, well, I'm not good at it, so I'm not even going to try, because we all have to start somewhere. And then to try and use that learning process also as a means of promoting other people who are better at their craft. Okay. So my discussion topic for today is a little article that I am not like, it just frustrated me. So it's not anything very large or it's not even well written, but it made me frustrated enough that I wanted to talk about it with you guys. I don't know how long we'll be here. If you guys have stuff to talk to me about, we might have a little bit more to talk about. But Stephen Kent, who I have no idea off the top of my head who this is. Other people like John Delarose may be more familiar. Okay. But he wrote this article, How Palpatine's Good as a Point of View Fooled Not Only Anakin Skywalker, but also a generation of Star Wars fans. So it's not a super long article, but I wanted to show it to you guys. And link is in the description if you guys want to follow along. Here are a couple of quotes that towards the beginning of the article. I've been thinking a lot about the reality of good and evil, and when exactly Westerners lost sight of how to tell the difference between the two. Moral relativism has overtaken our culture. Fiona Wolf, yes, moral relativism. From the moment Palpatine remarked to Anakin Skywalker that good is a point of view and that the Sith and the Jedi are similar in almost every way, including their quest for greater power, many Star Wars fans began to take this idea seriously, just as Anakin Skywalker did. First off, that may be true. I do not have the memories that he seems to have, that he sort of references, of being 14 and sitting around a lunch table and analyzing Star Wars. He provides no other evidence other than anecdotal, sort of vague reference to having discussions with other Star Wars fans. I don't know of anybody who took this idea seriously from Palpatine, if that makes sense. He proceeds to he seems to be saying that America was the bad guy post 9/11, and in order to avoid our collective guilt, we turn to moral relativism. And that is completely unhinging what, like, his conclusion from the title. I don't think maybe he did mean to say that Palpatine made fans and the entire culture confuse good and evil in this way, but he doesn't support that argument, if that makes sense. His quote there at the bottom: "Good guys must be bad guys, and bad guys must be misunderstood or even good." I think that he is conflating a whole bunch of ideas here, and it's so scattered that I'm really pulling at straws trying to get everything to make sense in a cohesive argument. Anne says, "Oh, goodness gracious." Fiona Wolf says, "The biggest talks I remember from high school days were Pokemon in the movies." Yeah. Fiona Wolf also had to mute Watchmen. Yes. Good grief. That discussion is not the one I'm talking about today. And then he goes into C.S. Lewis and Yoda. And the silliest thing here is that he slips into moral sentimentalism. So he says that the law of nature, and basically that if someone does something and it is wrong, evil, bad, that you know it, and that is an innate part of you. Mere Christianity doesn't end there, of course. He abandons that line and goes toward and brings up Yoda and applies his guidance about distinguishing light and dark sides of the Force with good and evil, and says that Anakin was led astray because he was not calm and rational about things, because Yoda says that you will know when you are calm. When you're still listening, calm and at peace, you know what the good side is and you can distinguish it from the bad. You've always known. That's what Kent says. That's not how morality works. And that's not how we avoid moral relativism either. So, really weird. And then this is the end of the article. We blinked. And I have no idea what this means. Our heroes are constantly torn down and recast as villains, and our country has without a doubt gotten worse, not better, in the years since the 9/11 attacks. But this didn't happen because America responded to genuine evil with strength and a sense of righteousness. It happened because we blinked. that's the end of the article. I don't know how. It's almost like he left off several paragraphs when he copied and pasted. So I'm a little bit unsure of what he means by we blinked. A lot of stuff happened that is not necessarily a direct result of the events of 9/11. Obviously, our culture changed a lot. Post 9/11, it was a milestone event in kind of the same way that we talk about the COVID shutdowns and stuff. Obviously, it was a different nature. I'm not saying that they're the same, but the COVID lockdowns aren't the cause of everything post, right? Things were in motion before and continue to develop and change after. So in that same way, Patrick, yes, thank you. Bush took down Star Wars too. This is exactly what I'm talking about. I'm so confused about what this article is trying to say. Today my oldest 2-year anniversary of starting her Star Wars journey. Hopefully she won't ask about the sequels. Crates Bane makes a good point. The problem is that good and evil isn't the same as the light and dark side of the Force. Yes. This article is both a crap analysis of Star Wars and the war in Iraq. It's like he did one thing led to another. And anyways, Germany invaded France. They stopped putting the cocaine in soda. That is exactly how I feel about this article. Here are my conclusions. No one was fooled by Palpatine. We all knew he was the antagonist, and that everything that he was saying to Anakin was probably not accurate. If you didn't realize it at the time that he said the quotable phrase to Anakin, the music, the set, Anakin's face, Palpatine's like side eye, those should all clue you in. Sorry. Morality should not be guided by movie antagonists or movie gurus. Yoda is also not my moral standard. If you're reading mere Christianity, don't stop after natural law. Like there's more to discuss. I think it is especially and particularly telling that Kent referenced C.S. Lewis and not ever the Bible. Because I say down here, somewhere. Oh yeah, the solution to moral relativism is truth. One of the other things I wanted to say is fictional heroes are archetypes. We aspire to them, and we should respond to genuine evil with strength and a sense of righteousness. Defining what that looks like is fine, and we can have that conversation. So if he was referencing specifically Bush's words, right, after 9/11, that's the words and the sentiment were not the problem. Government and bureaucracy are not heroes. There is no we when it comes to politics. And then the last thing that I wanted to say was a single story is not to blame for the downfall of America. Patrick says, we all know it was Jar Jar that was the big player. He calls for a vote for the clone army, and he then installs Palpatine as the emperor. Darth Jar Jar confirmed. That's one of my favorite theories. So, like I said, article made me frustrated, and I wanted to share that frustration with you guys. Thank you for listening. Here's my biggest frustration. I don't care about Palpatine and how he may have influenced the greater cultural, political conversation. I just want to have good stories. And this guy who is crying about what a story should be, you can insert this guy's political machinations trying to fit the themes of Star Wars, not even the themes, like a couple of political sound bites, and make them mean something bigger and greater. Can we just have a fun story? And the attitude of all art is political. I have a great deal of disdain for, as you guys know. Anne says, this is like the Spider-Man was America because we didn't take out the terrorists before 9/11 and they killed Uncle Ben. Seriously, National Review said that. I did not remember that. That's both sad and funny. Vienna Wolf says, a loss of baseline morality is what is causing the decline in America. Yes. And I think like I said, the problem of moral relativism is not solved by moral sentimentalism. It is solved by truth, which is not Yoda, and it is not C.S. Lewis. It is the Bible. And the shying away from teaching that and expecting that as a culture we respect that, I think, is part of the issue. Patrick says, yeah, but they keep writing it so other people killed Ben, just like all the enemies the U.S. fingers as the real problem. And they showed Spidey at the WTC in the trail, shocked Pikachu. Crate Spain says, there's always going to be an edgy, quotable villain with some segment of the population will cling to. Yep. And it's also, I think it has to be said that just because a villain says something does not mean that a reader is going to take that at face value. Like, I think EVS took a minor DC villain, I think it was, and like portrayed him like when he drew him, he looked a little bit like Hitler, and then they tried to cancel him over it and say that he believed the things that the antagonist was saying. It boggles my mind that people will take stories and try to pull out pieces and make it fit their framework of their larger political deal. I don't know. Anne says, if you want to explain a political point by using an example from a show, that's fine. But saying that a bad guy in a movie must have this or that political meaning is nuts, unless it's like Red Skull. I do not remember what Red Skull did. I know of him. But yeah, if they made Jordan Peterson Red Skull. That's right. I remember that. It's Nazism to tell young men to get their lives together. Yeah. And like Fiona Wolf mentioned, the whole Watchmen discussion, that is almost a similar sort of just, wanting things to be allegory, wanting to be able to say that people who identify with a villain are the villain, or that they are at fault for real world problems. It's just stupid. I just want to have fun and enjoy stories, and I want them to be good guy fights bad guy, archetypical good stuff, right? So that is why this article frustrates me the most. It's not that it was so poorly written and so poorly thought out, but the fact that it was all about making a story, making a piece of a story, a larger political like actor in the real world. All right, guys, I have indie alternatives to both Star Wars and message fiction. Anne says, I forgot about the Jordan Peterson thing. So these are space opera, primarily. Stuff that someone who enjoys Star Wars may, if they enjoy Star Wars on a grand genre scale, would enjoy this list. They are also focused on entertaining the reader, as opposed to lecturing or changing their mind about real world politics. There's nothing that's standing in for anything. It's just a good story. There are, of course, always themes, which I talk about in my full-length articles whenever I can. Fiona Wolf says, Captain Future, Lordy, just like Lensman. So many things I love about space fantasy was taken by those two sets of books. Nice. When do we get the movie where Palpy is a young Mujahideen? The Republic ended up arming the pre-prequel Catholic Kennedy. Maybe. I'm going to start with Star Shatter by Black Knight. This one, the first book is like an intro collection of short stories that feature each of the cast of characters that then go on to do things together in the rest of the series. The stories are all about like heroism, particularly in confronting like slavery and there's of course hostile aliens and pirates, and it's good. This one has both human, alien, and then like uplifted, they call them like animal characters. One of the characters is a hamster. It's fabulous. Action-packed, thrilling. Greater Duty by Yakov Merkin. This one is more military, a space fleet novel with alien species. So there's no humans in this one. It's all alien species. There's both space and ground battles. So if you enjoy that part of Star Wars, that's going to be there. Michael Caine, hi, thank you for coming. Sorry, I must not have done a very good job of promoting this. I think a half an hour ago, I was like, yeah, I can do this. Hansa's space hamster. Yes, space hamster. His name is awesome. Dream Within Dreams. This is the first book in the set of 3 novellas that I reviewed all together. He just released the 3rd one. He has plans for many, many more. There's a satisfying arc to the first 3, I feel like. So that is why I decided to do the first 3 as a chunk. This one is like a pseudo-space setting in a nebula, if that makes sense. And there are human characters, like robotic characters, AI characters. I'm trying to rack my brain, but I don't think anybody is actually alien, but I could be wrong on that off the top of my head. Thrilling heroics. I think this one in particular would be one that someone who appreciated the types of interactions between characters would appreciate. The interactions between characters in Star Wars would appreciate. After Moses by Michael King, who is in the chat. Hi. An engaging space western featuring a gunslinging captain, crumbling solar system civilization, and colorful villains. This one is maybe a little bit more reminiscent of something like Firefly, but it still has a lot of the space opera, space adventure type things that people appreciate. Guys, I cannot talk tonight. I apologize. Appreciate about Star Wars. So that's why I included it. There's another reason is there are like bounty hunter characters. So Patrick says just order all 4 and save yourself the time between books for shipping. True. Michael says, let's pretend I planned this. Made in His Image by Jeff Stoner. This is one of my favorite sci-fis that is a little bit on the like harder sci-fi descriptions. This one is also maybe a little bit more explicit than the typical indie stuff that we see a lot of in like the Iron Age. I appreciated it. I thought it was fun. So I'm gonna stick by and continue to recommend this one. Again, human characters, alien characters, sort of deity-esque characters, the Watchers. There's space travel. Like there is a character who's maybe a little like a cross between Han and Luke, and then of course this sexy woman who is just larger than life. Great, wonderful. Michael King says, well, the cover suggests it might be a little more explicit. Yeah, I might not have guessed it was a space adventure. I think her necklace is supposed to suggest that. But unless you look very closely, it is easy to miss. And one of my friends bought it or put it in his wish list on Amazon on my recommendation, and his wife was on their shared account and was like, "What is this?" It is it's a great sci-fi. C.S. Johnson's The Heights of Perdition and the Divine Space Pirates trilogy is another one I would recommend. This one has more romance. It is a sci-fi romance. And this one is also, if I remember correctly, just humans. But if one of the things that you appreciate about Star Wars is some of the more romantic elements, not that there's a ton of that in Star Wars, but this would be a good option. And it is a good, like, interesting sci-fi story as well as a good romance. She does a good job of doing both, fulfilling the expectations of both of those genres. I suggest Jiaotu's Endeavor. This one is maybe more Sword and Planet than space, but the whole thing does take place on a spaceship. It just is planet-like. So I think, and then of course there's swords. So I think that if what you enjoy about Star Wars is somewhat like the exploring new regions and that immediate hand-to-hand combat type stuff, this one might be one for you. Anne says, Made in His Image looks like a book you'd read on the beach while wearing a large black hat and big sunglasses. Yes. I threw this one on Abort. This is a science fiction novella, takes place in space, has some of a little bit more of the political negotiations, and it's a little bit more explicit. I thought that I would throw this one in there because it kind of contrasts some of the other ones that I've been talking about as far as being about a real world issue. It's a really interesting book, really interesting. It's not an argument, if that makes sense. It is not a. It's not proposing a sci-fi stand-in for abortion and saying, well, you wouldn't do this, so you shouldn't do that. It is, on the contrary, directed towards Christians who already believe that abortion is wrong, and saying that argument is not going to work, because no, they would do abortion and they would do this sci-fi thing too, right? So our response needs to be different. It's a really interesting story, and it's a novella, so I definitely recommend it if that is something that sounds interesting to you. I do not think that stories should not have real world messages or real world political issues or tackle them at all, right? I just do not like when that is standing between me and the escape of the story. And I don't like when people try to, like what this article did, making a really poorly thought out argument about that, especially with the title, seems to suggest that fiction is somehow at fault for our moral failings. Because I really don't agree with that. Patrick says, I'm the nerd that wanted more discussion on the intergalactic trade negotiations from the prequels. Like, how is Palpatine about to build 2 Death Stars? Who are his contractors, materials? I'm not going to suggest that you are in any way like George R.R. Martin, but how dare you? I don't have any stories like that. I'm sorry. Oh, maybe. Something I didn't include on this list was Brian Niemeyer's his mech ones. I can't remember what they're called off the top of my head anymore. I seem to remember there being a lot more stuff like that in those, but it's been a while since I read it, so I'd have to look over my review. Ultimate Kahuna says, ma'am, abort is a trigger word. Really? Michael Caine says, as a teen, I didn't mind trade negotiations. As an adult, I figure that banal stuff is exactly how politicians accumulate power. That's true. Seems accurate to me. I included this one. Patrick, who's in the chat, wrote this for me as a guest review of David, my husband's book. So I am compromised as far as my opinion. Please trust that Patrick is a worthy stand-in for me. Oh, hi, Jonathan Sugar. Yes, we're dogpiling Star Wars. Not really. Michael Caine says, I've started Uriel's Revenge. I saw your post. I appreciated it. It's incredibly like David. Yeah, I agree. I agree. Patrick says, I could never be a stand-in, but I had things to say. So Uriel's Revenge is about kind of ordinary people being swept up in this larger, greater conspiracy. And there's demons in space. It's cool stuff. As far as being Star Wars-like, I think there's more of a combining of like hard sci-fi descriptions of, I mean, software engineering. He talks about writing code, and then there's a clear concept of what parts of the ship do. And then there's also more of a like mythology that you're introduced to. So if that, like the idea of the Force and how the Force works is part of what you like about Star Wars, your Uriel's Revenge might be something you would appreciate. Combat Frame XC, thank you. That is what I was trying to say. Patrick, do you just read everything that I've read? Because that's one that I haven't seen it come up for a while. Jonathan says, Star Wars is amazing. Girls are either overpowered beyond belief or die from sadness with advanced medical technology right next to them. Sci-fi where characters disagree on cessationism. I laughed hard. Deep cut. For a fiction novel anyway. Yo. See, when I saw that you were reading it, I was like, he's going to get it and he's going to enjoy it. When I read it for the first time, I was like, babe, you got to explain some of this stuff to me. Like, because I'm familiar with cessationism when it's explained, or like, I'm like, oh yeah, that's what that word means. But I had like, or, you know, at the time that I first read it, I was like, can you explain this joke? I feel a bit bad. I knew it was good when I read it, but then when the Anarchist Bible Study did it together as a book club, watching them talk about it, and Patrick was in the chat of that too, of course, was like, oh, these guys are my husband's target audience, not me. It was fun. Patrick says, TBR, add all bare hips as press. Fiona Wolf says, Uba, robot MVP, medical technician, no force healing needed. Patrick, David holds fingers to lips. Those who have ears to hear will hear. Okay, guys. That was all I had for today. Coming up soon, I have Anne. Yes, thank you. Exactly. This is exactly what my question was. It's what the answer to that is that it is a theological term, and two of the characters, like in the opening chapter, are debating this two different sides of the issue. That's the skinny on it. Cessationism is when you stop. It's like so not everybody believes that in like Christian Protestantism. I have no idea what Catholics believe about this. That you like speaking in tongues, prophesying, other. Help me out, Patrick. Help. How would you broadly describe that? I don't know. But like that there is a point that they ceased and that we no longer do. Patrick, thank you. Okay. That the outward signs of the Holy Spirit have ceased at the end of the last apostle. Tongues, healing, prophecy, direct revelation. Okay. So, do you see why I will have him on when we talk about theological, deeper meaning discussions? Like, I need him. Michael says, basically, cessationists believe that the sign gifts have stopped, i.e., that now that we have the completed spiritual canon, they aren't necessary. Scriptural canon, they aren't necessary. Sure. That's what I said. And yeah, see, and it's like, oh, okay, it's not a super complicated idea, but like if you just hear the word, I don't know what that means. I appreciate you, Patrick. Ultimate Kahuna says, Katie, how does it feel to see your name attached to a review on the front of a book, as in the case of The Black Crown by John A. Douglas? As I continue to review stuff and hopefully to continue building out the Periapsis brand, I hope that that is helpful to an author. And I don't go out of my way to try to make my reviews quotable or useful for promotional material, but I hope that people will be able to do that if they feel that I do a good job describing their book and stuff. So it makes me happy, right? that John felt that was going to be something useful to him. And because I only review stuff that I like and would feel good about somebody saying, oh, she recommends it, right? It's like, well, yes, I did recommend it. And I did say that, right? So I don't have any conflicted feelings about it, if that makes sense. I'm pleased that my review functioned as intended. Michael Caine says, not that they aren't possible, though some do hold to that, but that they aren't a common part of Christian experience. Sure. Patrick says, God is able to do what he wills, but it's not the normal application. Agreed. Michael says, maybe I should mine your book for a back of the book quote the next time I update my covers. You certainly could. What are you talking about? Update your covers. I don't have the entire series yet. You cannot go updating your covers. Amazon makes it way too easy for authors to play around with their covers. And what I end up with is mix-matched book sets. That's why I haven't bought TJ's yet. He keeps playing around with it, and he's going to have the whole series out this year. And then I will buy them when all of the covers look good together. Patrick says, no, those are great covers. Sorry, like the back of the matter. Not the cover art. Patrick says the third book number is going to be the 14-point font instead of 12. It'll throw off the entire shelf. Oh my goodness. I have Naomi Novik's Temeraire series, and I have all but one. And like 4 or 5 of them all have nice kind of neutral colors, and her name is all lined up and in the same size and stuff. Even on the hardcover copy that they released of the first 3 together, lines up with the others, and then the titles and everything looks really good. And then there is a red spine right in the middle, which has it flipped. That's... oh well, what can you do? What can you do? What can you do? Lament it. Did I let you? I've lost my place because I've been reading your guys' chats instead of my keeping on my. This is why I have to have the PowerPoint, guys, and I didn't make PowerPoint for this part. Support indies. If you have indie alternatives to Star Wars, particularly that place emphasis on entertainment, as opposed to trying to make some sort of political statement, go ahead and leave that in the comments or in the chat if you guys are watching right now. And coming up for me next week, I am planning to do a live stream with some of the female creators in the indie space. Some people from Iron Age, some people from before Iron Age was even a thing, and hopefully we'll all have a fun and interesting conversation. You guys remember that I did with David, and I think the Free Narnian was on at the time with us, Do Men Read? And we talked about a couple of articles, and also just they talked a lot about their experience. And I thought, based on some of the things that I talked about with people in my Gilded, that it might be interesting to do sort of the reverse of that. Talk about, since TradPub seems to think that their target audience is largely women and that catering to a male audience is not worth the time and effort, how do we feel we fall within that target audience, and how that has influenced creativity, the books that we enjoy, that kind of thing. So yeah, that's coming up. I am still planning on being a part of the Fantasy Files Harry Potter read through. We're also still planning to continue with the book club. And like I said, I'm going to be try to be a bit more hands-on with posting to the Gilded about that. If you guys are interested in being part of the Gilded, just reach out to me. Anne says, girls playing man books. Patrick says, oh, well, the boss girls come out. Katie has really turned about face now. All sides of their heads will be shaved. Katie going, the force is female suddenly. Do I have people lined up? Yeah, I have a handful of people. If you have people that you would like to see, reach out to me, let me know. I'm interested in having more people always. I still have the basic version of StreamYard, so we may have to shuffle people in and out, but guys would totally be there for that, for the Girls Playing Man books, I'm sure. Michael, are you seriously? I was like, I saw you and Anne going back and forth a little bit up in my little feed, and I scroll up. You can't do that. Actually, Naomi Novik did another thing with one of her other series where it was a trilogy. 2 gold spines, 1 black. Makes me angry every time I look at it. Patrick says C.S. Johnson. She's on my list. Yes. C.S. Johnson is the one who wrote the Divine Pirates space trilogy that I mentioned earlier in this stream. Look, there's a reason, he says. I'm considering, okay? You know, do what you would like. You are the artist, the creative behind the product, so the book. So do it. Do what you want. Just just know that it's going to bug me. And other people won't even care. Ultimate Kahuna says, hey guys, here's an average trad pub intro. I'll start out. She was beautiful and strong and liked to fight. She wasn't like the other girls. Fiona Wolf says, man books need heroic and noble goal. Zug zug. Trying to think if there's anything else that I have coming up immediately. Oh, of course. David and I are just waiting on one more package, and then we will have the Cyberfrog action figures, and we would like to share them with you and talk about them when we do. So I don't know if that will be later this week or next week, but coming up, that's in the works. I'm pretty excited about it. And that was the only real gem from the original Buffy movie. You're not like other girls, but I am. If you can't handle her at the tentacleist, you can't handle her at her blasteriest. Blaster. Making up words. All right. Thank you guys so much for coming and being a part of this. I enjoy talking with you guys and sharing my small frustration over silly articles that were really probably not worth all of my mental effort in trying to piece together the argument that he was trying to make. But I think that it's important to talk about themes and the fact that someone was doing it in such a way that made it less fun was frustrating to me. Ultimate Kahuna says, hit the like, you filthy animals. So yeah, that's why I wanted to talk to you guys about it. And hopefully there will be other fun things to talk about in the coming weeks and months and this whole year. Yeah, Michael, I saw that article and was like, nope, not clicking that one. I probably would have saved myself a lot of grief if I had. All right. Thank you guys so much. And like, subscribe, comment. Sooner or later, I will be posting a review video, as I said earlier, for Clara and the Nutcracker. And I think how I'm going to do it is I'm not even going to take my notes, and I'm just going to make the video my notes. I don't know. We'll see. It's not something that I have practiced doing before. It's all going to be an experiment, and I appreciate you guys putting up with me. Okay. Good night, guys. Fiona Wolf says, click buttons, drink grog, eat good chicken, beef, moo cow, great. You guys have a good night.